Good afternoon, dear friends. It's a pleasure to join you on this nice meeting. This topic will be on the challenges and complications of atrial flow regulators. Atrial flow regulators introduced by Occlutech has got a luminal diameter of 4 millimeter, 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, and 10 millimeter. Since the 4 millimeter AFR closes off very soon after implantation, it's often not used. So most of the clinical use has been on 6, 8, and 10 millimeter AFRs. In countries where AFR are not available, for example, in India, Occlutech has withdrawn from Indian market, and so we don't have an option in the last 2 to 3 years to use an Occlutech AFR. So there is an alternative product called the Thoroughfare Merrill Atrial Pressure Controller, somewhat similar in design, but there are certain characteristic differences. Number one is the release is like a screw cable design, something similar to AST devices, and it is slightly lower in its profile. An 8 millimeter AFR can go through a 10 French sheath. Challenges during the procedure. We have to understand that these patients are very sick. They are prone for hemodynamic instability and they can develop pulmonary hypertensive crisis. In general, atrial septostomy is contraindicated if the right atrial pressure is more than 20 millimeters of mercury because it can produce profound hypoxia. LV end diastolic pressure is more than 18 millimeters of mercury because that additional fluid over the additional volume in the left ventricle can tilt the patient to pulmonary edema. Pre-procedural oxygen saturation less than 90% because they will not be able to tolerate further hypoxia, and PVR index more than 55 wood units, which means they are terribly sick patients. General anesthesia and transesophageal echocardiogram will additionally compromise these patients by causing vasodilatation, systemic vascular resistance fall, and these patients can develop right coronary artery hypoperfusion due to hypotension, and that can lead to further worsening of RV dysfunction, thereby triggering a vicious cycle. Specific problem in pulmonary hypertension for a septal puncture will be the septum bows far too to the left. In other words, the left atrium is very small. So we have to increase the curvature of the BRK needle. Sometimes we have to use BRK1 needle, which has got 53-degree angle. There is a patient who is having a marked shift of the intraatrial septum to the left side with a very small squashed left atrium. And when we are doing a septal puncture on fluoroscopic guidance on lateral view, it looks like we are staining the upper part of the septum. But when you tilt to the AP view, we realize that we have actually hit against the LA lateral wall. It's quite easy to injure the left atrial lateral wall because the intraatrial septum will be bowing far too to the left side. If suppose that injury causes a true perforation, it can lead to hemothorax, and these patients do not tolerate this hemothorax at all. This is the example of the blood pressure, the aortic pressure, the pulmonary artery pressure shown in white shows that it is suprasystemic, but the BP is stable. The moment the patient gets into this cardiac tamponade, there is a pulsus paradoxus with severe drop of the blood pressure. Mean blood pressure is only 30 millimeters of mercury. Specific problem that is peculiar to AFR implantation is atrial tachyarrhythmias that are triggered by the AFR procedure will not be tolerated by the patient at all. So this is an example of an AFR that is being implanted. The patient goes into a fast atrial flutter and the BP crashes down to 30 millimeters of mercury and it's almost like a flat line. So such tachyarrhythmias will not be tolerated and we need to be very careful in manipulating. The moment the tachycardia is controlled, the BP slowly picks up and you can start observing that the AFR is shunting right to left and the patient regains some amount of stability. Sometimes the atrial septum may be postoperative by pericardial patches, and in these cases, they may be too rigid for perforation. In such case, this is an example of a postoperative patient. You can appreciate so many sternal wires here. In those cases, we have to use electrosurgery. We have to go on to the yellow cutting mode and give 40 to 60 watts of current for 2 to 3 seconds in order to perforate the atrial septum and enter into the left atrial cavity. One of the frequently asked questions is serious hypoxemia. How to titrate a AFR lumen size? In general, the rule of thumb is if you are doing it in adults where the RA pressure is less than 12 millimeters of mercury, you can implant a 10 millimeter AFR to get an optimal RA decompression. But if the adult patients are having more than 12 millimeters of mercury, it's better to downsize it to 8 millimeter AFR. In a small child, if the RA pressure is less than 12 millimeters of mercury, use an 8 millimeter AFR. But if they are sick with RA pressure more than 12 millimeters of mercury, use a 6 millimeter AFR. I don't use a 4 millimeter AFR because it unpredictably closes off very soon. If there is a large right to left shunt causing severe hypoxemia, this is an example of a post AFR, lot of shunt from the right to left, and the patient is having severe hypoxemia. Manage them with high flow oxygen, increase the fluid significantly, and give packed red cells to increase the hemoglobin to more than 15 to 16 grams per deciliter, because this will improve the oxygen transport. Refractory life-threatening hypotension may also be a problem. In some cases, they will be very refractory to medical treatment. In those cases, in serious hypoxemia that is not responding to medical treatment, we may have to sometimes close the AFR with a duct occluder device. This is a duct occluder device that is closing the AFR. In patients who are having serious severe hypotension, this hypotension produces RCA hypoperfusion, right coronary hypoperfusion, right ventricular ischemia, and triggers a vicious cycle. So always these procedures should be done by somebody who is senior, and we should maintain the systemic vascular resistance adequate by giving some inotropes at the start of the procedure, and we should have drugs like phenylephrine or norepinephrine to be started immediately for preventing any fall in the SVR. There is a severe hypotension. This is an example of a significant hypotension during the procedure. You can see the mean blood pressure is just around 60 millimeters of mercury. So in these cases, you may have to start on nitric oxide and high flow oxygen. You have to give some milrinone and norepinephrine, give abundant amount of fluids, and sometimes you may have to be prepared to go on ECMO. One of the other problem about AFR is there can be a paradoxical embolism and a paradoxical stroke. If you feel that there is a very high chances of paradoxical stroke, then put in filters. This is a spider X filter in the right innominate artery, and this is a spider X filter in the left carotid artery. So these cerebral filters will prevent a stroke. What are the late problems, the late complications? If you don't give adequate antiplatelets, there will be progressive microthrombi deposition, luminal narrowing, and loss of patency. Inadequate antiplatelets can also lead to paradoxical embolism. In general, we have observed that if you follow a patient with AFR for more than 4 to 5 years, there is a progressive loss of lumen, and the efficiency of the AFR reduces. In general, smaller the AFR, earlier is the lumen loss. This is an example of an AFR that was done for a post-Fontan patient. This patient has got a tricuspid annuloplasty ring here, and there is a left pulmonary artery stent here. The AFR was functioning very poorly. That led to saturation increase up to 98%, and the Fontan pressures increasing to 16 millimeters of mercury. So this is a 10 millimeter balloon dilatation of the lumen of the AFR, and following this balloon dilatation, the Fontan pressure dropped down to 12 millimeters of mercury, and the saturations dropped down to 92 to 93%. Sometimes you may have to use a stent. This is an example of AFR that was done for left heart failure. The patient already has got an ICD in place. So the patient presented with flash pulmonary edema about 4 years after an AFR implantation. This is a 10 millimeter stent that is being positioned across the AFR, and this 10 millimeter stent is fully expanded within the AFR in order to create a lumen of the AFR again to open up. Sometimes there can be complete occlusion of the AFR with total loss of patency. This is an AFR that was done for a Fontan circulation. There is a complete occlusion, and on transesophageal echocardiography, there is a complete occlusion. We may have to implant another AFR. In general, we have to understand that pulmonary hypertension is a progressive disease. So there can be worsening pulmonary arterial hypertension. So these patients may need a later reintervention, which may be in the form of a reversed portion. So this is an example of a patient who already has got an AFR, and now we are doing a reversed portion. An arterial railroad is taken, femoral artery to pulmonary artery, and then reversed partition stent is implanted. Once the stent is implanted, the AFR now becomes unnecessary. So the AFR now is closed because there will be right to left shunt through both the AFR as well as the partition. So we are closing the AFR here with a duct occluder device. So this is a duct occluder that is closing the AFR. To summarize, ladies and gentlemen, the procedural challenges are that the atrial septum will bow far too to the left with a very small left atrial size, which is prone for injury and perforation. If the AFR is too large or if the AFR is too small, the patients may not be very stable. We have to be careful to avoid fast atrial tachyarrhythmias during the procedure and procedural strokes. About late complications, we need to maintain them on dual antiplatelets for as long as it is permissible in order to prevent progressive loss of lumen of the AFR. Paradoxical embolism can happen in patients who have AFR, and we need to be aware about need for reintervention such as balloon angioplasty or stent angioplasty to increase the size of the lumen of the AFR. And we need to understand that some patients may need a delayed closure of AFR, and this can be done by devices such as duct occluder 2. Thank you very much for your attention.